days, because he died, he rose on the third day. Then you got 40 days that they seen him. That's when they talking to him on the 40th day. Now, and he said, not many days they're gonna be filled with the Holy Spirit, right? So now we gotta look at um, verse 12. It says, then returned they unto Jerusalem from the mount called Olivet, which is from Jerusalem a Sabbath day's journey. So when you add those 7 days, those 7 days equals what? From 3 days, he died, he rose on the third day. That's 3 days. We just read where he was, they seen him for 40 days. That's 43 days. And the Sabbath day's journey, you know, is 7 days. So that's 50 days. So now when you come to Acts the 2nd chapter, we look at, and when the day of Pentecost was fully come, which is 50 days after the Passover, it all adds up, you know. 50 days. Penta is 5. So Pentecost is the feast of ingathering, feast of fruits, first fruits, and it's called the Pentecost. 50 days after the Passover, say, and when the day of Pentecost was fully come, they were all with one accord in one place. Remember, he said they're gonna receive power, that spiritual power, once that the Holy Spirit has come upon them, right? So all the apostles were in one place, and suddenly there came a sound from heaven, as of a rushing mighty wind. Keep that in perspective. There came from heaven as of a rushing mighty wind, and it filled all the house where they were sitting. This rushing mighty wind filled the house where they were sitting. And there appeared unto them cloven tongues, like as of fire, and it sat upon each of them, right? So I want to deal with this wind and this fire, because it's very important, because most people that's Christians would not see this, because they don't believe in the complete Bible, the King James 6:11 Bible. But we're gonna go into the Apocrypha, and we're gonna look at 2nd Ezra 8, the 8th chapter and the 21st verse, dealing with this wind and fire, because remember, they're gonna be endowed with powers. That's spiritual power. So how is they endowed with this spiritual power? Look at 2nd Ezra 8 and 21. It says, whose throne, this is the Most High, power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Jacob being the forefather of the 12 tribes of Israel. That's the whose. That's the Most High's throne, is inestimable. It cannot be measured. Whose glory may not be comprehended. You can't comprehend the glory of the Most High. That's what it says. Before whom the host, that means the army of angels, stand with trembling. Hear that? Remember, our salvation got to come out with fear and trembling. So the host, the army of angels, stand with trembling before the Most High. Y'all think you ain't got to fear the Most High? You better think again. Listen, whose service is conversing, Most High talks in a conversation in wind. Remember what it said, and suddenly, in Acts 2 and 2, and suddenly there came a sound from heaven as of a rushing mighty wind, and it filled all the house where they were sitting. Whose service is conversing, a conversation from the Most High in wind and fire, right? Acts 2 and 3. And there appeared unto them cloven tongues, like as of fire, and it sat upon each of them. Just a miracle that happened, right? Whose word is true? In Acts, 2nd Ezra 8:22. Whose service is conversing. He have a conversation in wind and fire. Whose word is true and saying constant. Whose commandment is strong and ordinance fearful. You hear that? People don't fear the Most High. They think fear means something different than being afraid of him. So now, it said, and we know that fire is Jeremiah 23 and 29. Jeremiah 23:29. We covered this already. That's why you can go back to the beginning of the lesson. You'll see a lot of what we covered is still pertaining to what we need to look at this time. Jeremiah 23:29. Is not my word like as a fire, said the Most High, and like a hammer that breaketh the rock in pieces? His word is like fire, you see. Because he's a consuming fire. You gotta recognize, man. Shit. It's my problem. Look how MASHAYACH gonna judge the earth when he come back. Go to 2 Ezra 13 and 37 and 38. And this my son in the Old Testament shall rebuke the wicked inventions of those nations. All the nations will come together to fight on MASHAYACH. The Army, the Navy, the Marines, the Air Forces will come together to fight on MASHAYACH. And he will rebuke the wicked inventions of those nations, all the ordinances, which for their wicked life are fallen into the tempest. And shall lay before them their evil thoughts, what they're thinking, that's evil, and the torments wherewith they shall begin to be tormented. How he's getting ready to torment, telling them, which are like unto a flame, bringing that fire, y'all. That flame, keep that in mind, and he shall destroy them without labor. How? By the law, which is like unto fire. You see? So, regardless of how you look at it, go back to Acts, the 2nd chapter, still bringing MASHAYACH along with the law. Period. That law is like fire. The law that the Most High wrote with his finger, the finger of the Most High, the work of the Most High. So when you look at Acts, the 2nd chapter, now that we know that the wind, the Most High has a conversation in wind and fire, Acts 2 and 2, and suddenly there came a sound from heaven as of a rushing mighty wind. This conversation of the Most High. And it filled all the house where they were sitting. And there appeared unto them cloven tongues. These are languages, different languages, which like as a fire, That's the word of the Most High. The word of the Most High and the law of the Most High. And it sat upon each of them. And they were all filled with the Holy Spirit and began to speak with other tongues, other languages, as the Spirit, see that? As the Spirit gave them utterance. See that? And they were dwelling at Jerusalem, Jews, because this is our holy day, the day of ingathering, the day of the Feast of Weeks, the day of Pentecost, 50 days after the Passover. This is our holy day. And they were dwelling at Jerusalem, Jews. And the Christians use this to be able to say you got to speak in tongues and all this. And say you're a Gentile, been grafted in, don't know who you've been grafted in among, but these are the chapters that they use right here to say this. And this tells you they're not Jews. We say, you're a Jew? No. They go to what we went over earlier, John 1:11. He came to his own received him not. They don't read verse 12, but as many as received him, gave he power, that spiritual power, to become the sons of the Most High, even to them that believe on YAHAWASHI. They ain't going there. So here, at the Pentecost, it's a holy convocation of ingathering, period. Who was there? Verse 5 of Acts, the 2nd chapter. And they were dwelling at Jerusalem, Jews, you see, on the 50th day. He died, rose on the 3rd day, walked the earth for 40 days. He said, Sabbath day's journey, hip talk. 7 days later, that's the 50th day. Here we are. Perfect math. And they were dwelling at Jerusalem, Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven. Now, when this was noised abroad, the multitude came together and were confounded. They were confused, because why? That every man heard them speak. This is a miracle in their own language. Remember to say cloven tongues? Like as a fire, they heard them speak in their own language. And they were all amazed and marveled, saying one to another, behold, are not all these which speak Galileans? Aren't these men from Galilee? How they speaking it up? And how hear we every man in our own tongue, wherein we were born? And these were the Israelites' word, scattered